we do in GRC, what we try to do is we try to reflect the reality of the organization. After all, that's what auditors will come to you after. Reflecting the reality of the organization, it's quite complicated because there's so many components in a GRC department that it requires feedback from all corners of the organization. So if you're creating controls, you will have to test these controls. If you're going to be doing risk, you'll have to review the risk. Policies must be reviewed. Exceptions must go through the reviews as well on the deadlines. Projects have deadlines as well, and tasks on the project as well. So pretty much anything you do in terms of GRC, in eramba at least, will have some form of deadline. When we create items in eramba, we always assign them to someone, because anything in eramba has some kind of role. For example, I'm in the internal controls and I have the service owner and collaborator. Remember, you can change these names using customizations. The point is, you will want to warn these people when these deadlines come, so they provide you with feedback. In this case, could be evidence for testing a control, but it could be feedback about a task which is about to expire, or a risk review, or a policy review. The point is, you need to send emails to these people, notifications to these people. Any module and any tab in any module, so for example, this module has 4 tabs and all tabs will have the same, will have a notification option on the top. You will always see the 4 same type of notifications: warning, comments, reports, and awareness notification. The warning notification will be used most of the times when you want to send an email based on a deadline. So for example, if I go to my audits and I want to send an email 5 days before the deadline of the planned start of an audit, I need to go here, go to warning, new, and create that notification. In this case, I will select 5 days before the audit date. I could create multiple notifications if I want, 1 day before, 5 days before, and so on. You will define who will be the recipient for that notification, and you can also adjust the body and the subject of your emails, also using macros. So the email will be very specific to what you really want them to know. Once they get this email, so the audit owner or the audit evidence owner, they will click on the email, they will log in into eramba, and they will provide you feedback. Feedback in eramba is all the time in the form of comments and attachments. So they will come here, they will click in there, and they will provide you whatever feedback they have to provide you. Who, what, and when will be there with a trail. Now, you need another notification here to know that someone gave you feedback. And for that, you have the comments and attachments notification. Again, you will go to new, create the notification based on which condition you want that to go, set the recipients, adjust your body and your subject, and that will go as an email. So now you have it. The warning notification and the comments and attachment notifications, they will help you to collect all this feedback. And again, this applies to any module in eramba. A project task, a risk review, a policy review, a control, whatever it is all the time the same process. Example I just gave you applies to email notifications, but also to REST APIs. Because in these 2 types of notifications, you can also send a webhook. That means that instead of together with an email, you can define a REST call. So you can do a post, a get, you define all the parameters in here, and eramba can send those as well. So instead of sending an email for every comment and attachment, you could send a Slack message, for example, to that user directly. You need to configure and set up all this software piece by yourself. Another typical notification is a report notification. The report notification basically can send filters or reports at a regular schedule. So if you create a filter, for example, give me all the controls which I use in ISO, which will have to be tested next week, and you want that to be sent to you by email, you need to create the filter, save it, and then you go to notifications, report, and you send that to whoever you want at a regular interval. So you choose what you want to send, a filter or a graphical report. You can set a name, you choose the filter you want to send, and then in which format and how frequent you want that to go. You define the recipients, and again, the body and the subject of your email, and off you go. You will get that notification to you. The same happens with your reports. If you create a section report and you want those to be sent at regular interval, same story. Create the report, and then go to notifications and you send that over email. A fourth type of notification is the awareness notification, and you need to use this one with a little bit of care. The idea of the awareness notification is to remind people at a regular interval that they own something in eramba. So once you create the awareness notification, you will define how frequent you want that to go, the recipient and the body and the subject. And then that will run based on your recurrence for every item on that section and will go for every person that you have in here. So remember, this will send many emails, but okay, if you want to remind people, for example, they own a control or they own a risk, you can use that type of notification. One more example I didn't give you so far about the warning notification is that they also work in combination with your statuses. Statuses are basically the first column in eramba, and there are these labels in here that you can define by your own, based on your own conditions. When they switch on and off, you can also send an email. So for example, when the status too many failed audit switches on and you want to notify the collaborator of that control or the owner of that control, you need to use a warning notification. So warning notifications do these two things, deadline kind of thing and dynamic status. You see, I select dynamic status and I choose which status I want to send when it matches or when it stop matches. And again, that will go as an email or as a REST API. So that's extremely useful because statuses can be defined by you on your own logic.